All right, folks. I'm joined back again with John Carman, United States Secret Service in the 70s under Carter and Ford, and Nixon as well, correct?
Yeah, Nixon came back once in a while, like to clean out his desk or something. So,
but you also, pulled Hinckley aside and had the wits.
I am the one that pulled him aside in 1976. Yes.
Right, to question him. You knew something was wrong with the guy, and he actually was the one that tried to assassinate Reagan. So, good instincts on that one.
John, yeah, he was a stalker.
Yeah, insane. Let's talk about this. Two National Guardsmen shot. They've survived. I thought that, at first they were reporting that they passed away, but they both survived. They're with their families right now. 𝗬𝗫𝗠𝗂𝗧 said, she's part of the Seditious Six, said that, National Guardsmen would start opening fire on American citizens. Fast forward a few days later, the exact opposite happens. A refugee, he's not even an American citizen, a refugee, an Afghan refugee, shot these two, National Guardsmen and almost killed them. And now I believe he was fatally injured. He's passed away, correct?
I haven't heard that yet, but they're going to keep that. They're going to keep that information close to their vest. They're not going to release certain information on shootings, including the status of the victims, because that gives out intel to other people who may be organized or copycats. So, and
okay,
by the
so
way,
that's he still could be alive, but this also comes on the heels of when President Trump designated Muslim Brotherhood, or is about to designate Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization.
Well, they've been designated before, but they're just playing word games. They're word salad type things. And by the way, the history behind American troops firing on Americans has been going on for, 15, 20 plus years. They're like trying to anticipate. You know what that is? It's suggestive intel that they're putting out. That's what you watch. The intel is on news media. They're actually using that. That's CIA, deep state back stuff. When they put it out over the news, they put it out there for a reason to trigger certain people that are MK Ultra.
Okay, so it's obvious now that, I've said this years ago. I even had Alex Jones on my show, and I said, this was when Biden was president. And I said, the reason that they're doing this is so that cells will be activated for such a time as when Trump comes back into office. And as such a time as this, what we're seeing now, that the cells will be activated to cause chaos because they know the plays, the moves that Trump's going to make, and they need to just upset or upend the whole chessboard and go with the chaos card. And that's what they're doing right now. That's what I believe. And I think this is going to be the first of many to come. Do you agree?
I agree fully, because the patterns are there. And that's what I do. I look at the profiles. I look at the patterns. They will disrupt the country. Look at the last 4 years, where they had all kinds of stuff that you never would see, besides directed energy weapon attacks, besides railroad crossings, bridges destroyed. It's like in a war movie. It's the same thing that we would do in a war. You blow up a bridge, you blow up the transportation, ships crashing into the bridges and stuff. That's crazy. It's the same scenario. We're at war and people don't get it.
No, they're really trying their hardest to create some kind of civil unrest, civil chaos.
Go.
Yeah.
No, I have not seen this, so I'm looking at it for the first time. So if somebody got a picture of that, it looks like they may be at the exact location where the shooting had occurred, or they're arresting some guy. Maybe they're arresting the guy.
I think this is the Afghan refugee right here, if this is the right footage. But
what's interesting is when he was shown on a gurney to an ambulance, he wasn't very well dressed. I mean, he was totally like stripped down. Maybe they stripped him down real quick to make sure he didn't have another wound. Typically, that's EMT trauma checking type stuff, primary triage, which I'm trained in as well. But they could have been checking for a weapon or something like that. So,
well, I'm going to make a prediction here. I think a lot more of this is going to happen because they know Trump is getting ready to make his moves against the deep state with arrests, indictments, and they need to upend the chess game. They don't have many plays left. The last play the last move they can make by panic, the Hail Mary, is to hopefully spiral this country in some kind of civil unrest into a civil war. That's what I think their plan is.
Yeah, they're trying, no matter what, the Democrats, and I'll be very clear about it, the Democrats who are starting this stuff and have been doing it for many, many years are going to keep agitating as if they are infiltrating in the country that we live in. They are communists. They need to be taken down and arrested much faster than what I see with Pam Bondi or the administration, because they're not thinking as fast as I'm thinking. I'm much faster because I worked on the street level. So I know this stuff. They don't have the experience. So when I suggest and suggest and suggest, eventually they pick up on it. Oh, those senators and congressmen made defamatory statements. No, they're called high treason, 18 U.S.C. 2381.
You know, I was just waiting for such a time as now. I knew it was only a matter of time before bullets started flying at the troops, or vice versa, right? I knew it was just a matter of time, and then
how long is it going to take for somebody gets killed or shot?
Right, and here we are now, and I would imagine this is going to snowball and continue. Would you agree with me?
Unfortunately, yes. I have to say that if you look at the profiling of it, that's just one incident, but they're always testing the perimeter of the White House. Do you get that? So every time they remember years ago, they had a guy that literally had an AK-47 when they had access to the actual sidewalk. The fence was a little bit shorter. Now it's up higher. You know, I'm 6'3", so it's like up to 8 feet something. Some guy unloaded with a trench coat, pulled out a AK-47, was firing at the north portico where I would stand, and just randomly shooting. And they've had other shots fired from the south, from Constitution Avenue, way back behind the Washington Monument areas, up to the White House. So they've had perforations.
So do you think, John, that there could be a chance that these cells are now activated and this shooter won't go down as the only one in the next coming weeks and months? Do you think it's logical to believe that now it's game time and we're going to see more and more activated shooting at our troops to hopefully
engage and initiate some sort of a shootout?
Right. And then as they do that, as they cause that kind of disruption within our troops and National Guard, obviously Trump will deploy more, and then the protests kick off, right?
Well, he can deploy as many as he wants.
Right, but then the deep state's next move will be protests. Then
I get it. Yeah. They're always trying to escalate, push buttons to agitate and see if he's got the huevos to take action. If it was me, I would have taken action a long time ago. Remember, it's a 15.5 square miles. Pete Hegseth, War Secretary, says they've shut everything down in the D.C. area, so they're in lockdown. That's the term he used. Okay, good, lock it down. But anytime you got people out there, you've got all kinds of stuff going on. This is what I did for a living in Secret Service. I patrolled the streets in those exact areas at and near and inside the White House. We look for vehicles that are abandoned. We look for garages that have vehicles that are sitting around loaded up with stuff. We look for everything possible because they could still pre-designate certain areas for targets in that area. It's only a block and a half away. Now, I've been in the same area. There's a park right near there. A lot of transits, a lot of homeless people, all kinds of stuff. So all those buildings in that area are suspicious, targeted areas. Anything adjacent to and near the White House is a target. And if you got a big thing like what happened at the 𝗲𝗏 building in 1995, or you got some other things going on like the Twin Towers, then yeah, they've got the technology. They could do all kinds of damage. So those people are sitting ducks if they don't get that stuff upgraded and have these people get more aggressive. Pam Bondi, Jeannie Pirou, what's her name? Bowser's leaving. That's good. That's timely. But what's interesting is you still have a lot of these Muslim terrorists in the country. And I talk to Muslims. I talk to people who are converted. I talk to other people who are experts at what they're doing. They think it's okay to pillage women and stuff like that because it honors Allah. That's BS.
So that's BS. I would imagine, it wasn't just a couple of weeks ago, 𝗀𝗃 went into Dearborn, Michigan and raided, they said they thwarted a terrorist plot. I kind of felt like there was could have been a false flag on our end just for an excuse to get in there and start raiding because we know what they're getting ready to do. So what's your thoughts on that? Do you think that
sometimes they're
going to lead to Dearborn, to Plano, to the community, the Muslim communities there, and then to someone like Mamdani?
Dearborn, you have to understand, Dearborn and Michigan is the #1 area for Muslims in the United States. #2 is in my area, San Diego County, and I could go into that. But point is, they already have targeted areas. They know the targeted areas. If they want to clean out a lot of the problems, they already have the intel. And when they do a raid, that's like a throwaway raid. It's like for demonstration. It's to throw the fear into the other targeted areas to make them react or to shut down or do it. They've got so many targets they could go after, but they're not doing it fast enough for John Carman's, type of opinion. Because if I was in the first hour and Trump took his hand down and said, "I do," I would have looked over as he signs the War Powers Act, and how many people have you arrested since he took the oath? And before that, the vice president takes the oath too, so he's covered for a couple hours. See what I mean? They're not doing it fast enough. Something's wrong. They're waiting and letting stuff happen, and that's the negative aspect. If they allow stuff to happen like this, then they use it to a reaction, a knee-jerk reaction. Well, since that happened, now we're going to upgrade this, we're going to do that. They don't have to wait.
So what's your thoughts on this video the Democrats put out on this, the seditious six, where they said that the troops should not obey, or they should disobey the orders of Trump?
That was an obvious move. They violated 18 U.S.C. 2381.
So because they knew that this was going to begin, right? That this was going to, they knew this was, it was almost like a kickstart into where we are right now. Would you say that's what initiated this terrorist attack on our troops?
I'm sorry. What's profile all these people? They're Democrats, right?
Yeah.
Right? Not one Republican was in there. And what they're doing is they're purposely putting out the word. Look at all of us. There's 6 of us telling you to disobey an order. Well, wait a minute. There's a procedure. Unlawful orders. There is a procedure to do that. UCMJ has it covered under UCMJ and federal law enforcement. That's me. And I've disobeyed an unlawful order by a supervisor who wouldn't identify himself on the radio. Oh, don't intercept anybody down there on 1,000 people getting run across San Ysidro in the United States. Identify yourself. I took an oath of office. Therefore, anybody who tells you to do otherwise is violating federal law. Those people need to be arrested the hard way with handcuffs at 3 a.m. Right
so
now.
You think that these members of the Democratic lawmakers, right, ex-CIA, people that were involved in the Pentagon, these people should be arrested and sent to jail for life for the comments they made in this video?
I'm sorry. Well, the penalty is death. Sorry.
Wow. So you think that's the extreme Trump should take?
Yes. No, that's the law. Like in the old movie, it's the law,
But how do you think that would? I mean, a lot of my audience would be like, "Who cares? Just do it. It's it's the law." And I know they agree with you, but that itself, if Trump took these people and executed them, that itself could spiral us into a civil war.
You go through the public law, and then I just heard where a judge wanted to give bond hearings to these illegals. They're not entitled to a bond hearing. They're illegal. They're here illegally. There's a procedure. You pick them up, you detain them, you deport them, or you charge them with a crime, let them serve their sentence, and then you deport them. There's no bond hearing for illegals in this country. They're not Americans. That's why they're playing a game against us. Democrats need to be arrested. The terrorists and the internal domestic terrorists, like these 6 Congress people or legislators, they make the laws. They're lying. They don't enforce the law. They have people like me who are highly trained to go out and arrest people left and right. It doesn't matter. I arrest them all. Once in a while, you can use a little bit of leeway, but you can't go against stuff where it's an obvious violation. The UCMJ, remember Sidney Powell was targeted. She was the one that was qualified to do UCMJ tribunals down in Gitmo. They didn't want her to do that, so they targeted her. These people need to be arrested. I say the rest of Congress and the Senate, if they're not obeying the laws where they're supposed to, they think they're immune. They are not immune under Title 18 U.S.C. 2381. High treason. They're afraid to use high treason. Well, then use another one. They've got
it's just crazy too. I'm going to pull up the profile picture of the guy. Here he is, the Afghan refugee that you said worked for the Biden administration, John.
He got a job through the Biden administration, which is what they did to the refugee asylees. They gave them jobs. They give them up to $5,000 a month. I have people I profiled locally. I know the information. They give them money to pay bills, to buy a car, to pay for rent and food. And if they can get them a job, they'll get them a job. And that's what's going on. You know, that guy was overweight.
If my instincts are right, this guy's obviously going to, I mean, not this guy, but there's going to be more to follow very soon.
Well, that's why I said the copycat thing. Once one person goes out and reaches a point of no return, he could have got shot, killed. I'm surprised he was alive when they took him into custody. That's we shoot to stop in the Secret Service. We do not shoot to kill. It's in the profile policy that's what we do. Yeah, that guy's got an interesting face. Very interesting. I measure everything. I measure all kinds of stuff that people wouldn't get. But if he's out there and he's aggressive,
he's got those wild eyes, you know.
Well, I measure the eyes. I've been talking to a friend of mine about how they measure the eyes. One's usually off on the left side, his left eye, which to us is his right, and the left eye is usually off and up a little bit higher. It's just like a contrast thing, you know. But some people are right straight on, like a hawk, and others are not, and they may be a little off. I won't mention 𝗬𝗃𝗏. He's got like a hypoxia look where his eyes are like Atoms shift.
Like they're pumping nitrogen in the back of their head.
Yeah, something's going on. Drugs, whatever, you know.
So I'm guessing there's going to be a lot more of this to come. We should prepare for this. I'm surprised one hasn't happened already, to be quite honest with you. I know Trump has sent in, another 400 lockdown DC and sent in another 400 troops, is it?
I heard 500. They usually keep it in certain numbers. I looked for the numbers. If they didn't have enough out there, they need 1,000. That's like when I suggested to Trump, if you got 3,000 Immigration Border Patrol, customs people at the border, you need to triple it. First, second, and third shift. And then you need the backup people that handle the people that make the arrests. Then you move them up. They make arrests, then you move the next people up. They need 10,000 on the border, 3,000 miles. That's 3 per mile, basically. You see what I mean?
Right.
So when they're doing DC, 15.5 square miles, I covered that area. I walked beat patrols. I drove patrol cars, marked, unmarked, all kinds of stuff. You could have 1,000 spread out to key areas all around the mall, the White House, Washington Monument, the Capitol, which they're going to play games with that, all the way up to the Lincoln Memorial, Jefferson Memorial just across the Potomac. It's not enough. You could put a lot more out there, and then when they get to the point where it's Day the Earth Stood Still, 1951 movie, then you got them in Jeeps and military convoys, and everybody's going all over the place. You see what I mean? So they could do a lot more. He's softballing it. That's not how I would do it. They get somebody being shot by these Muslim, Democrat-supported people. They need to have the lists of everybody. They should have already done that. They should have rounded them up and deported them, and they're playing games. They're doing it, and they're profiling. Well, we're doing this. We just arrested some more. We're deporting people left and right. They've got millions. The Democrats did that intentionally. Why aren't these Democrats being held responsible? I hate that. They need to be arrested. And I get keyed off when these terms, even Jeannie Pirro, the person of interest, the gentleman, alternate terms like that. You know, the word is suspect, lady. I don't give a damn about your background. It's suspect. That's what they put out over the radio waves. What is the suspect information? White, black, Chinese, LGBTQ, indifferent, whatever it is, tell us what the suspect information is. Well, the gentleman of question is, he's traveling southbound with a gun in his hand. He's headed towards the White House.
A little too PC, right?
Yeah, it's bullshit. They need to get rid of that PC stuff right now. 𝗏𝗏𝗏, Pam Bondi. You know, I like Stephen Miller. Let's leave that on a positive. Stephen Miller knows what's going on. Homeland is being held back. He's aggressive like I am, but he's being held back.
He's definitely a bulldog, man. That guy wants to go in. You can tell.
Oh yeah, well he knows. He was Border Patrol.
Right.
He worked in the same district.
Take no shit. Take no prisoners. Let's go.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Right, right. But I feel like we're anticipating one of their moves that I think needs to happen. Unfortunately, I think one of their moves is going to be, and it could happen this holiday season. I think there could be a big terrorist attack this holiday season. And I'm not.
No, they're already done. If you watch a little TV, check up on the news. What's happening today? Thanksgiving Day parades.
Right.
They're already doing the security for that in New York, Macy's, parades, stuff like that. They will typically, the Democrats, these communists, they will target these areas to use people. Deep state, let's be clear, CIA, deep state, they will initiate death, dying, destruction and make it look like something else. Then that means they will clamp down. They'll get more responses, and then people are generally stupid. I'm sorry, most people don't.
I agree with that completely. You're not trying to convince me of anything.
I mean, they're not trained, but when they get one reaction, then that means they clamp down on another. They're doing it to cause a reaction internationally as well.
So if any more events happen, let's say in other cities, in multiple cities, we could be looking at what martial law situation here?
Well, we discussed this years ago. When Flynn was being questioned about it from a guy, well, has he done the Insurrection Act yet? Well, no, not yet. That's an actual quote. The Insurrection Act means he could come to California, the 9th Federal District Courts in the West Coast, which I have been screaming about it before, do the Insurrection Act, take out the governors, the mayors, all these Democrat communists. I won't mention Karen Bass, Gavin Newsom. He copied my acronym for Gavin Newsom. So that's okay. That's a compliment. But if they don't take these people out under Insurrection Act, which is localized martial law, they could go full-blown martial law, but they're going to need a lot of extra background with the military and all these federal agencies, and they haven't cleaned out the federal government yet. They've got too much infiltrators, corrupt people in U.S. Customs. I've been saying it for years, and they haven't done any internal cleaning, house cleaning.
You know, to me, this is just, it's a quite, I mean, for me, it's for years now, since Biden got in, I've been saying they're going to let in millions to be activated, not vetted, millions to be activated. And that's why Trump now is going in, kicking down doors, raiding, deporting immigrants, is because we're taking out the violent hombres first, getting them first, the head organizers, the head honchos, making sure they go so that we could buffer or lessen or neutralize the coming effect of what they're planning to do, which is going to be mass shootings, terrorist events, whatever they have up their sleeve. And I think this is proof right here with this shooting of the National Guardsman that it's beginning, and I don't think it's going to stop. I think we're going to have much more of this. There's no way we could deport millions within the first year of Trump's presidency. So this is going to be an ongoing problem, I would imagine, for years to come. I don't think it's going to be over in just a couple of weeks.
It's a long-lasting thing that the damage done by the Democrats.
This could be the new normal for us.
Yeah, they've already put an average of 11 million was always used for years and years and years. 11 million.
Way more than that.
Then they doubled it. Now it's 20 million.
Right.
So no matter what, they can't do it in 4 years to go out and arrest people left and right. The worst, heaviest, baddest, honchos malos.
Honchos malos.
Hey, where's Sancho in all this? I want to see Sancho.
And Sancho is right here. But we need some Sancho. but there's also friends are reporting that our boots on the ground within Tijuana in Mexico on the front line, basically. Oscar Ramirez, a friend of mine who's a reporter down there, told me that they're still coming up into Mexico and they're
Oh,
waiting.
sure they are.
They're waiting.
Yeah, it's part of the
20...
Soros operation
right.
through the Mexican cartel, who get paid lots of dinero. And by the way, 𝗬𝗂𝗁𝗂, I heard recently she's even thinking about stepping down now.
Okay, so I said I called that. Well,
there you
I
go.
said she's gonna have to either step down or face the consequences.
There you go.
But hold on. So he's told me that in 2028 they're getting ready to rush the border, Biden 2.0.
They've done it before.
For when after Trump is out of office, whoever comes in, whatever lame duck comes in, either on the Republican side or obviously Democrat, that's going to be, well, you know what that is right then and there. But that they're waiting to rush the border in 2028. And
well,
what
they've
you're
done this
seeing now,
before. When I was down there, they had bonsai runs, is what we called them. And I was at the port of entry. I was in the chase car. I've caught people myself. I was ordered by somebody on a radio not to intercept. And I said, no, I'm going to do it. Now, come write me up. They won't, because I will arrest them. I will arrest a badge who's trying to tell me to not do my job. They had thousands lined up across the border in TJ, in Tijuana, across from San Ysidro, and they would allow them to go through. Border Patrol couldn't do it. They let them come in, then they can capture them after they get in. But trying to chase people on a one-way southbound, going northbound through the traffic is very dangerous for these people. Some are good people. I get that. I've intercepted families and stuff like that. I'm not after the families. I'm after the bad guy who's the pollero. That's the 𝗵𝗃𝗶𝗹𝗃 that gets away with a shit of stealing money, and they're cutthroats. They don't care. They'll take your money and say, oh, San Francisco's on the other side of the hill there, and they die in the desert. That kind of guy.
Yeah.
Did I say pendejo good enough?
Yeah, it's pendejo. All right. Well, John, thanks for joining me. This is a quick one. It is Thanksgiving Day, but I wanted to put something out there. So
we can do more.
Well, what's your Venmo so people can get you?
Oh, yeah.
So you can get some tacos.
I need taco money, man. John hyphen Carman, 𝗬𝗂𝗁𝗂𝗁 hyphen 17, number 17.
John hyphen Carman hyphen 17. I'll put it down below. Thanks, John, for joining me. I love your input.
Anytime, man.
Got it. No holds barred, no shits given. Thank you.
That's it.